Hi, my name is Judi Isom. I'm the Director of Education for Tressa Professional and Watercolors here. And I want to thank you for joining me tonight. I want to thank Marlo for having me tonight. And we're going to do a live presentation where we're going to talk about making waves. Perms, waves, texture, whatever you want to call it. They are, they're coming back, you know, and what we're finding is that people who were not interested in learning them before are interested now. And we're getting a lot of questions. Plus, a lot of your favorite waves might be going away. So we're here to kind of help you fill in the gaps and learn a little bit about our, hi, hi Lynn, and learn a little bit about the Tressa waving system. So I'm just gonna jump right in and talk to you a little bit about the Tressa waving system and what makes it a little bit different than some of the others that you're using. And the main difference, hey Zach, the main difference is at Tressa we have a triple binding neutralizer. So that means that, all right, let's roll it back for a second, back to beauty school days. When we are doing a wave, we are interacting with the different bonds in the hair, right? So we've got the hydrogen bonds, the disulfide bonds, and the salt bonds. When we apply our neutralizer and are doing our neutralizing questions, doing our neutralizing process, we take care of the hydrogen bonds and the disulfide bonds, right? But the salt bonds are the ones where you have to wait 24 hours for them to come back. So what makes us different at Tressa is that we have, hey Tina, a triple bonding neutralizer, which means it bonds all three, it rebuilds all three of those bonds so that you don't have to wait to shampoo your hair afterward, and you can even color and curl on the same day. Did I just blow your mind, right? You could color and curl on the same day. And that's possible because there's a silicone dehydrant in our neutralizer, which returns those salt bonds right to where they were at the beginning, and you don't have to wait for them to come back. So, I'm so excited. Thank you. I love my hair color too. Look how long it's getting. So, without further ado, the first wave that I want to introduce you to from the Tressa system is our pliance wave. And a lot of the questions when I was looking online earlier, a lot of people were asking me questions about which perm is for fine hair, which perm is for hair that has, you know, highlighted hair, this, that. So we're gonna address those questions right now during this part of the presentation. So pliance is our most gentle wave, okay? This has a pH of 6.7, which is not that far off from our skin and hair, right? So this is a wave that you're gonna be able to use on fragile, delicate, high lift hair, tinted hair, highlighted hair, and it's just gonna open that cuticle a little bit, not create a lot of swelling, and it's just gonna create a little bit of movement in the hair. Today, I'm presenting these waves from the least aggressive to the most aggressive, because I kind of think that's how we need to think about them. Like if we just need to move a few bonds and the hair is sort of diminished, then we're gonna start here with the pliance, right? And what you can expect from the pliance wave, since the pH is on the lower side and it's an acid wave, what does that say? What's the name again? Pliance. Since it's an acid wave, it's gonna make sort of a natural curl pattern in the hair. It's gonna sort of mimic naturally wavy hair. So this is gonna be good for your beach wave. It's gonna be good for any slight movement in the hair. It's not gonna create a lot of firm curl because it doesn't have enough power, it doesn't pack enough punch to shift enough bonds for that, okay? So we start with appliance, and this this wave, since it's for like the most diminished hair, again, you can use it on hair that's been highlighted, hair that has been, that you've used lightener on. It's really good for any fragile, delicate hair. You're gonna check this one every 5 minutes to make sure that it's not over processing. But the good news is that it can process anywhere between 5 to 40 minutes. So if you need that little extra time, you can just go ahead and let it keep on processing. So pliance is kind of your go-to if you're afraid or if you just want to make a little pattern in the hair. Great for a beach wave with a lot of different things going on, right? So next in line is colorage. So this is our colorage wave, and this is for hair. We're kind of stepping up a little bit. The pH of this one is 7, and this is for hair that is has been color treated, and it's up to 50% highlights. Can still use this. It doesn't really matter what volume you did, as long as the hair has enough integrity to pass the sink or swim test, which we will be talking about shortly. So this one actually has a conditioning link in it that helps to reform the bonds, to reinforce those side bonds when they're reforming in the hair, so that it actually gives the hair a little more strength and helps to make a stronger wave pattern than the pliance. So if you've got colored hair that's fragile, that's partially highlighted, colorage is the one for you. And since we're moving up the pH scale now, you'll find that the colorage is going to create more of a wave pattern that you think of with natural curly hair. Not quite uniform, but it's starting to kind of wave back and forth and have a C curl on the end. So this wave is going to be great for, again, kind of your beach wave look, a wavy look, a body wave. We haven't shifted enough bonds yet with these lower pH ones to start making like a firm curl. All right, so moving right along, the next one that I want to tell you about is the green box, and this is zone control. So the other thing that's happening now is we're going through a packaging change. So you might get a brown box that has a green ribbon, but the color coding is still going to stay the same. Okay, so zone control, this is the one that is kind of our best seller. This is the one that makes it a really easy thing to choose, because this is for hair that has different zones, right? Hair with a lot of history, that's what I call it. Hair with multiple porosities. So this is for previously waved, tinted, or highlighted up to 50% hair. When you mix the activator with the lotion, it heats up. This is the only one where we don't want you to test curl it until the complete 20 minutes is up. With the exception of the pliance, you're going to test most of these at 15 minutes. But we want you, because this one is self-heating, we want you to wait until the whole 20 minutes has processed, so you open up that bag and let the heat out, okay? And this is where we're kicking it up a notch. That exothermic is coming in, the pH is going up. The pH of the zone control is 7.7. So now we are, the pH is a 7.7. I just see your question, what is the pH? So this is where we're starting to get into that area with the addition of heat, where we're shifting up enough bonds to start seeing that perm pattern that we expect. The S curl back and forth and a C curl on the end. Still not quite strong enough. Yes, buffered acid, pH 7.7. We are still not to that place where it's going to support a spiral wave, because we haven't shifted enough, it's not strong enough to shift enough bonds yet, but this is where we start creating a little more movement. And because it's sort of multi-purpose and it's for those different, situations in your hair, this is one of our best sellers. This also contains a different form of ammonium thioglycolate called GMT, which is glycerol monothioglycolate. and it sort of senses the difference between the hair that is full of keratin and the hair that is devoid of keratin, and expands to just the right size in both so that you get a nice even result from root to tip in the different zones of the hair. Okay? The next one, as we move right along, is clientage. So they're getting a little stronger as we move on. Clientage has a pH of 8.2. This is for normal or healthy tinted hair. So this is kind of the strongest one that we have for use on tinted hair. It's going to give you a nice strong wave pattern, and it starts to form like a nice curl, and it's going to be have more longevity because it's shifting more bonds than some of the other ones. So this is where we're going to start creating some volume and some movement in the hair. This is a wave that is going to be strong enough to be styled some days, and then some days where kind of curly. You have the sort of options with this. So again, this is the clientage. It's got a pH of 8.2, and it is for normal hair and healthy tinted hair. And then that brings us to our last two, which I'm going to tell you about together. We have our full cycle, which is really our strongest wave, although it's got a pH of 8.5. And then we have our versatage, which is has a pH of 9.5. All right. So even though the versatage has a higher pH than the other, this is the big guns that we save for the most resistant. So let's talk about versatage first. Versatage also has a stop action molecule in it to prevent it from overprocessing. So even though it's got a high pH of 9.5, this is your alkaline wave. This is the wave that is going to create the most volume and curl in the hair. This is what's going to support your spiral curls or your little old lady waves. This is where you're going to go with this one. You can expect a strong, firm curl. This is great for long hair that might need, a little extra strength, but you have to make sure there's no color. No color for this one. And then finally, we have full cycle. And full cycle processes with drier heat. So this is for your most resistant hair that doesn't have any color. All right, when we get to our two top alkalines, they are not recommended for color treated hair at all. And full cycle is for extremely resistant hair. This is great for anybody whose hair is ultra resistant, or if you're doing jumbo rods, or you're working with extra long hair, because the heat sometimes kind of helps drive it a little further into the hair situation, right? So that's kind of the presentation of all the waves. You can see that we have sort of a wave for every hair type. And that makes it easy. It makes it easy to look at the back, look at the bottle, and choose. Earlier today, I dropped in a wave chart and some in-wave descriptions that you could pick up right here on the page. And what are you asking now? What perm do you recommend for over 50% highlights? So for over 50% highlights, you're going to be using one of these, and that will kind of depend on the state of their hair in the first place. Okay. Now I have my friend Selena here with me. I'm gonna bring her over. Come on over, Selena. And we're gonna analyze her hair, because a lot of times I think what's happening is we're not spending enough time on the hair analysis and speaking to our clients, so we don't know what to pick, right? So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run my fingers through her hair, and I'm gonna sort of figure out the texture. Does she have fine hair? Does she have coarse hair? And I mean, her hair is big and fat and pretty coarse. And we can establish that really just by touching it. Then let's talk about the density of her hair. Like density, so texture is fine, medium, coarse, like how fat each hair is, the diameter of each hair. And then density is like how much hair per square inch. Density, her density is really full, and you can see how close her hairs are together. She's got a lot of hairs per square inch. That's gonna affect your sectioning, because if they've got hair tightly packed to the scalp, then we're gonna have to take smaller sections maybe, right? She does have very coarse hair. So we've established that her hair is coarse, it's very dense, and so now let's check the tensile strength. The tensile strength is, I'm just gonna pull on it and see, does it stretch? Does it bounce back? How much can I pull on it before it breaks? Her hair is very strong, so her tensile strength is very good. So we've got coarse hair, we've got high density, and we've got good tensile strength. The next thing that we want to talk about is porosity. Porosity is kind of, what does that one say? Oh, she's used the perms. Thank you for using our perms forever. The next thing we want to talk about is porosity, because porosity is the enemy of any chemical service, right? And this is where, I know some of you guys were very curious about the sink or swim test. This is where the sink or swim test comes in. So I have washed her hair and prepped her a little bit for today, because we're gonna kind of do a little mini wrap session on her. If you can start with clean hair, it's gonna be best for this test, but it's not necessary, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run my hands through her hair and see if I can get one that's loose, right? If I can't get one that's loose, which is not gonna happen, then I'm just gonna take one, and I'm gonna take it from kind of up here in the most abused area, and you should too when you're, sorry baby, she's got enough to spare though, right? Mm-hmm. You should address the area that you think is gonna be the most problematic when you do the sink or swim test, okay? And normally I do this in a tint bowl, but it's really hard to show you that. So today I got a glass, and I'm gonna step forward. Yeah, she's got a little bit of color on her ends, but I don't expect her hair to be very porous. So look, I'm just gonna drop this hair into the water. And I think you can see that there's no hair dipping under the water, because it's floating on top of the water. I don't know that you can see the floating on top. This is very hard to show, so I apologize. But you can see that there's no hair under the water. If the hair floats, that means that it is healthy and it's not too porous. If the hair sinks under the water, that means that the hair is porous and it's not appropriate to do a chemical service to that hair, right? Yeah, it didn't sink down at all because her hair is super healthy, right? Even on the parts where she's got a little lightener on the ends, because, you know, we've taken good care of her hair. We took good hair. We didn't get too aggressive with it when we were lightening it in the first place. So that gave us a lot of information, right? We know that her hair is very healthy and not too porous. A lot of times you'll pick up that hair and it'll sink right to the bottom. And I like to do it in front of the client sometimes too, because then if they're arguing with you, or if there's any question whether or not you should do the service, they're going to understand that, you know, the hair sank to the bottom. It's a good visual, all right? Now, the other thing we're gonna do with that same hair is something called an IT, or internal tension test, all right? And I'm gonna step up here again so that hopefully you can see this hair. You can kind of see it. There you go. All right, so we're gonna take the hair between our thumb and our forefinger, and we're gonna hold them about 1.5 to 2 inches apart. No further, because if we hold it out further, we're gonna get a false read. All right, so, oh, I lost the hair. Here it is. And I'm gonna show you this again in a minute. So here's the hair. I think you can kind of see it if I hold it against my black shirt is in the way. And I'm gonna start drawing my thumbs together. As I move my thumbs together, the hair is gonna hump up and form a loop. I know it's hard to see that, so I'm gonna demonstrate it with this string, okay? Oh, thank you. Thank you for the compliment about my nails. So here's the string, right? As I'm moving it together, it bumps up like this, and as I move my hands closer together, it will turn and form a loop. All right? So here's the thing. The size of the loop that is determined by this test, the size of the loop that the hair makes when you push it together like this, is the size of the tool that it's gonna take to shift the bonds in that hair. All right? All right, I'm gonna say it again. The size of the loop that is formed when you're doing the IT test and moving this hair together towards itself is gonna tell you how packly tight the bonds are in that hair. So if the bonds are very tight and close together, it's gonna take a very small rod or tool to get them to move, to loosen them up and break them and shift them around, right? Whereas if the bonds are a little further apart, you're gonna get a bigger loop, which means a larger tool or something, a larger tool or rod, you know, to help kind of move and shift those bonds in that hair. So having this sort of in your arsenal, this little test, gives you some information. Because I mean, back in the day, and I've been a hairdresser for a long time, long enough to remember back in the day when it was perm. You know, people knew, they could tell you, my hair doesn't take a good perm, my hair this, my hair that, but people don't know now. Because it's been a long time since anybody's had a wave of any sort. You know, this way, the length of hair is also a factor, yes. And we're going to talk about that in a second too. This way, you're gathering as much information as you can so you can make the best wave choice for their hair. I mean, this is how you're going to know if their hair is resistant or not resistant, etc. The other thing that does affect our wave and our wrap choice is the length of the hair. Hair that is over 7 inches of length is going to need some sort of piggyback wrap or double wrap or something to take up that length, right? So the length really is a factor in this as well. Are we getting any questions?
So Trina asked, I just got in, will you be replaying this video?
Yes, Trina asked if we're going to be replaying this video, and this video is going to be available on the Marlo page, I think in perpetuity. I think it'll be there forever so that you can access it and take a look and review what you might have missed before. So if you are just joining us, my name is Judi Isom. I'm the Director of Education for Tressa Professional and Watercolors Hair. And we're talking about waves because waves are the thing now, right? Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. So the other thing that we need to do during our consultation is talk to our clients about their expectations. Because you know, Selena and I were talking earlier, and I said we're gonna shoot for a beach wave, and you know that is something that her hair IT'd at a good place that it could work well for. So I said if I could make it, you know, if I couldn't get it just right, would you rather have it too curly or not curly enough? Because that's gonna help me decide how I'm gonna have my wrap. And then I like to ask my clients, what do you do to your hair? What will you do? What will you be styling? What is your lifestyle like? You know, if there's someone who thinks they're gonna get a perm and wash their hair and shake their head, but they're ITing, you know, they're gonna need a really small wave, then maybe that's not gonna jive, right? Or they have an IT test that says that it's gonna take, you know, a lot of tension to shift those bonds in their hair. But they're wanting something that's more loose and casual. So, you know, it's good to understand what their expectations are so that we can manage them, right? And their styling habits, etc. So all that's going to factor in to your wave choice and your tool choice.
So,
all right.
Yeah, Candy asked a question.
Yes.
Candy said, what is the benefit of waves for textured hair? Will it give a different curl pattern?
If the hair is already textured, what is likely to happen is that it's going to take a pretty tight wave because the bonds are already sort of partway there. So if I'm trying to change the, you know, the curl pattern of hair that's already textured, I'm probably going to size up on my rod or tool because it's probably going to take a little better than my expectations. I hope that answers your question. So I have a few support products that I want to tell you about. Hello, Pennsylvania. And then I'm going to just show you a really easy sort of wrap pattern that you can use with any rod or tool to make sort of a more modern wave. Okay? So first I want to tell you about Moisturize. So Moisturize is, what is your definition of texture? My definition of texture is any hair that is not really straight. It could be micro curled, it could be wavy, it could just have a, you know, a feeling to it. I don't know, texture is all different. So Moisturize. Moisturize is a wrapping tool, a wrapping lotion, a wrapping aid. So basically it's glycerin and water, and it's gonna help keep the hair evenly moist while you're working. We like to say that it's wetter than water because it contains some glycerin and it helps keep the hair equally humidified the whole time. And it also can speed up your wrapping because it's got just the right amount of slip plus grip to keep things going. Another support product that we have is Protage. And this is a skin protector because sometimes too people do get sensitized behind their ears or on their neck or something. And this, you just rub this into the skin and it's a barrier cream, so it will help protect them.
Joanne asked, are you going to show the finished product of the perm?
No, Joanne, we are not actually doing a perm today. I'm just gonna kind of show you the grid and sort of the beginning of the wrap because I only have 30 minutes with you today. So we won't actually be perming today, but I can always come back and do that again. All right, here's two other support products that we have. PEQ is our porosity equalizer, and you would use this beforehand on, like in Selena's case, I would use this on her highlights to kind of extra protect them from the hair. And then Perk It is kind of like a little bit like a beach spray, a little bit like a curl enhancing spray. It's got some special salts in it that help the hair kind of shrink up and reinforce that curl pattern. So anytime that you're giving a wave, Perk It is a great thing to sort of retail to go home with them. All right, I got two more, and then we're gonna talk a little bit about the wrap. Remove All Plus is our product. It's a chelating shampoo. We recommend that before any of our wave services, you're gonna shampoo with the Remove All Plus and leave it on the hair for 5 minutes. Then you rinse it off and continue on your way. And then finally, we've got a brand new product, which is called FKS. FKS stands for Functional Keratin Serum. And what it does is during the process of the hair, while you're breaking down the bonds and shifting the bonds in the hair, the disulfide bonds are letting out the sulfur, and the sulfur is kind of what activates the FKS to function, as it were. So it actually goes in, forces this between the processing of the wave after having rinsed it and apply. Oh no, oh, there we are. We got kicked off for a second. So I encourage you to check out some of the info that I've shared about FKS, because you really shouldn't be doing a wave without it. It's just kind of insurance that you're going to get those bouncy, fresh curls that you want. All right. Now let's get down to business, because I know that my time is getting a little slow. We're running a little, it's 8:30, but I'm just going to keep going. All right. So,
Oh, Joanne asked, can you buy those products at Marlo? Are they available now?
yes, yes, and yes. Everything that we talked about today is available from Marlo, and I think we're giving away one of everything. So check out the Marlo Facebook page and you can learn how. All right. So, Selena, can you just look down for a second for me?
Mm-hmm.
So what I've done is from the front round down, I've parted kind of from ear to ear, and I'm gonna work triangle sections, like geodesic sections, as we go along. And this is a really easy, cool way to kind of give your wave a modern look without getting too crazy and having to learn a whole new wrap. So you want to make sure that the sides of the triangle are big enough to contain the tool that you're going to use to wrap the hair, right? Can you visit a Marlo, or is it only online orders? Yes, Marlo is only online. I see another question. How do these perms compare to the ISO that we used in school? Chemically, they're a little different because the ISO are ammonia free. But if you want to head on over to our, oh, actually what will happen is I'm going to drop in the comments, we've got, oh, and they've got it on Marlo itself, living on the page. I'm sorry, I'm talking in a circle. Anyways, we've got a recommendation chart that compares all the waves out there and its recommended Tressa wave. So that could answer that question for you. So you saw me put down my end papers, and now I'm gonna bring out, this is a piece of mesh, okay? This is just regular old mesh. Because she's got some layering in the front of her hair, those end wraps were just not gonna do it for me. So I can use this piece of mesh just as I would use an end wrap by encapsulating the hair in it, sliding it down to make sure that you've got all the ends in there. And I'm gonna show you this wrap two ways. I'm gonna show you with the bendy rods. Now I'm gonna wrap this spiral, so go around 1.5 times till it catches. And once it's on there, you're gonna use moderate tension and just roll, 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 right down to the scalp, right? So then this one goes up, this one goes around, ta-da. Pretty easy, right? The mesh is the most, I wish that it was my idea. It was not, alas, it was not, but I wish that it had been my idea. All right, so now we're gonna go staying within our first parted off section. We're gonna take the next triangle right to it. So we're gonna part off point to point to point. Look down for me. Can everybody see those triangles? All right, some people call this random triangles. Some people call it geodesic sections. Lift your head back up for me. You're gonna over direct this here because you want it to end right in the middle of your section, right? I'm gonna use the mesh again. But this time, just to show you that you can do this with any tool, any wave tool that you want, this time I'm gonna wrap it with a regular old concave rod.
So a lot of people are asking where you get the mesh.
The mesh is just from the craft store. So I saved it. This is an end bolt of mesh, right? And I just cut off what I need. You can cut them to smaller sizes if you want to use them for like around the hairline when you've got shorter hair and it's all kind of little crazy lengths. It's really good for catching that. But basically it's just mesh from the store. Like you would make wedding favors out of or something, right?
Is it washable?
Yes, the mesh is washable, and to be honest with you, the more you wash it, the softer it is, the better it is for you to use. I wash them, I throw them in the washer in a garment bag with the towels, and then I take them out and lay them flat to dry. All right, now I'm gonna continue on the other side. Let me move this one out of the way a little bit. So this is gonna be another triangle. And you see, I'm just gonna continue around the head with these triangles. And because I'm using a little bit of a larger base and it's triangular, that means that the tool, whatever tool I use, is going to sit kind of that means you're gonna get a little more of a natural look. We'll get a little bit of a lift in the center where it's directly on base, and then we'll get a little bit of movement and then a drop where it's not quite on base. And you can see, super easy to use. Now, I'm doing this kind of pure form because I just want to show you guys how easy it is. Yes, I realize her hair is more than 7 inches long and I probably should be doing like a piggyback up here. So I'm gonna do the next one, piggyback, so you'll have an idea what that might look like.
So Nicole asked, what is the best wrap for the beach wave?
I like this one for the beach wave, and then we have another product altogether called Wave Liage that employs these bendy rods in all sizes. So sometimes I like to use that one too. I like this triangle sections for my beach wave for the same reason that I mentioned earlier. It makes it a little more random flow. You just make sure if you're gonna do a beach wave that you're working off their part when you start your triangle sections. So here's my same triangle section, but this time I'm wrapping a piggyback. Whoops. Always wants to make a fool of me when I'm on live on the interwebs, right? So there you go. We've got all these different choices of wrap styles, but still with the triangle sections. So you're gonna get a lot of movement without a whole bunch of volume, just little peaks and valleys of volume kind of around the head. So I'm gonna stop with the wrapping now so that I can tell you a little bit about waveliage, because I know that I've already gone over. But I want you to know about waveliage because it's cool as heck, right? So this is waveliage, and this product is, I'm gonna bring it up close. No, do I wrap both? Okay, first question from Michelle. If they part their hair on the side, would you start with the side part? Yes, I would start however they part their hair. And then Christine asks, do you wrap both rods the same direction with the piggyback? And no, I switch it up because if you wrap them both the same direction, they'll have a flat spot in the middle. Okay, I know, I'm sorry. We keep reconnecting here, so I don't know why it keeps cutting in and out. So here's the waveliage, and waveliage is everything you need to do your beach wave, okay? So inside here, let me get it open. We have multiple components. This is your waving lotion. It's like a cream, okay? You're gonna add the activator into the waving lotion, stir it up. Your waving lotion is gonna be inside there. And then what we're gonna do is we're going to apply we're gonna apply the cream to the hair as we wrap it. So we're gonna paint the cream onto the hair. Once it's saturated with the cream, then we're gonna roll that hair. And you can use an end wrap for this. This is just me demonstrating. We're gonna roll that hair up, kind of spirally, and then we're gonna close the rod. You roll it up as far as you want to see the wave, and you put the product where you want the hair to be curly. Does that make sense? The great thing about the waveliage is that you are controlling where you're putting the product. So you're controlling exactly where the wave is. If you just want waves on the bottom, you can do that. But the great thing about waveliage is that it comes with FKS inside. So remember before I mentioned that the FKS, it goes in and it rebuilds those side bonds so the curls are firmer. So this way you can do a beach wave on the biggest rods that you can find. And we do sell some very large ones in the waveliage kit. And they're gonna have the strength of having been on a smaller rod because the FKS is gonna back it up and sort of push it in there for us, right? I dropped on the Marlo page, I did drop a video that tells a little bit about waveliage, so you can check that out. You could go to our YouTube channel and check out waveliage and learn more about it there and watch a whole video of the process. And
so there's a couple questions. So Pam asked, good for a root perm?
Yeah, it's good for a root perm too. We actually have a video on our Facebook page using it for a root bump. And you can use it on bleached hair. You can use it on any hair, the waveliage, as long as it passes the sink or swim test.
And then Brenda asked, being that it's cream based, does it add more moisture to the hair?
Not necessarily. It's just about control. So you can put it where you want to put it. It's not necessarily more moisturizing.
And then Diana's, what is the timing for wave liage?
The timing for wave liage is about 20 minutes. Sometimes it takes a little longer, and sometimes if the hair has a lot of lightener on it, it might take a little faster. You want to test curl it at 15 minutes. I heard someone say, when can you do a wave liage for us? If you go to our YouTube channel, you can watch me do and explain a wave liage for you right there from start to finish. So I know that I went like 16 minutes over. What does it say? Is the cream packed?
Product, acid, or
Huh? It's a buffered acid. It's a buffered acid, so it's not quite as aggressive as an alkaline, but it's bumped up a little to make it a little stronger. All right, lots of questions. I love interacting with you guys. I'm gonna sign off my live for now, but if you have questions, you can ask them on the comment thread on the giveaway, or you can message them to Marlo and I will answer them for you. And great information. Thanks so much. I'm trying to pay attention to all the questions as I go. So I want to thank you guys for joining me tonight. You've been great. I'm sorry that I went over, but I feel like you really needed to know this stuff. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me on Facebook. My name is Judi Isom, Judiisom, or you can reach out to me on Instagram. I'm Watercolors Judi, Judi, on Instagram, or I'll stick around for a little while and answer some questions here on the Marlo page for you. Thanks again, and hey, let's go make some waves. Bye-bye.